Hi, how you doing?
Good to have you on the show. As we were just talking off camera, we said we're just going to have a bit of a chat today. See what happens.
Yeah.
You got some questions, haven't you, lined up?
I've got lots of questions for Marc.
Paul.
Oh, I'm scared now.
Full of questions.
You should be.
Yeah. I first came across you, Marc, at Gnuff, not this year, last year now, but the last Gnuff.
Yes.
2023.
Yeah,
that one. Yeah, I was absolutely all over the place there. Like, Gnuff, such a great weekend for me. And what I love about it so much is how busy I can get, even outside of my official duties with like my performance and my workshop there. I was doing so many collaboration videos. I think I did like 13 videos over the course of like just 2 days. It was insane, but I loved how that weekend was. So yeah.
Yeah, I saw most, if not all, of your collaboration videos, and which was one thing that I wanted to ask you about, because you do that quite a bit, don't you, at festivals and things. I saw a couple of weeks ago your collaboration with Alex at the Isle of Wight.
Yes,
Bracklesham, the Isle of Wight. Yeah, which was awesome. Or even though you weren't on the video clip particularly, but
yeah, that was my fault.
I with a ukulele and.
I mean, I was just like, I didn't have anyone with me to sort out video, so I just kind of put a camera there, switched it on, hope for the best, and then was being rushed on stage by Mr. Bed. So yeah, but that was a really great weekend. The Bracklesham weekends. I had such a great time because I wasn't doing much in the sense of like collaboration videos like I have done at other festivals like Quick Enough, which we'll get back to, I'm sure. But like, that weekend was great because there were 3 times, and there were only like 6 acts during a Bracklesham weekend. There were 3 times where I was invited up on stage to join someone. And that's been something that I have wanted for years. I got into the ukulele scene properly in 2016. I remember watching folks like Phil Dolman, Ken Middleton, Hedge Inspectors, and various others doing sets and having spots where they'd invite people on stage. And I wanted that kind of recognition for years. So it was really, really rewarding when I got to make those on-stage collaborations happen. The Alex one was particularly fun because of how musically we gelled together and how it was like we gelled very nicely in rehearsals. He was surprised because like his songs I knew because I'm a nerd and I can pick up his songs really quickly, and also I like his music. So it was just a really magical session and a nice, great moment that we caught of us on stage together.
Yeah, it was really, really nice song. But you've done lots of these collaborations now with some of the top names in the ukulele world, which is an amazing little kind of niche that you've got yourself into. Backstage collaborations. I saw one doing a bit of research with Jake.
Yeah, I saw that one. Doesn't get much better than that, does it?
And then I remember seeing one with I can't remember whether it was Cynthia Lynn or it was with Ukulele.
It was I did 2 videos, one with Lenny, one with Abe.
Abe, yes, yeah. Which, you know, I mean, that's a good...
Yeah, that's not bad doing
good crowd of people, isn't it? Yeah. And
yeah.
So going back from that, to go all the way back, because we kind of, you know, we have to go over how you got into playing the ukulele and, you know, how you got started, how you got to what you're doing now. So give us a brief kind of overview of what made you pick up the ukulele in the first place.
Absolutely. So my musical career started when I was 12. I played piano. The following year, I picked up guitar and I started learning that. It initially began with my curricular music lessons where we're taught 3-chord tricks, D, G, and A. Those are the same shapes on ukulele as our G, our C, our D. So it was from that I learned guitar, and then 2011, I was 14, and I picked up bass because my goal in music was I'd always just wanted to like be in a band and play music with other people. And I decided the way to do that was making myself as versatile as possible by playing as many instruments as possible. So I went towards bass because, that's like guitar, but root notes and arpeggios and stuff. Like, at least that was what I thought of when I was like 14 and just getting into it. And depending on how you approach the instrument, it can be a bit like that. But in that same year, I went to a guitar fair and I saw a ukulele, and my approach was, it's the same concept of holding chord shapes and strumming. It's not going to take much for me to immediately add this to my current repertoire of instruments I can play. It was just adding another string to my bow, as it were. And that was the genesis of when I picked up the ukulele for the first time, and bought like a £20 uke by the brand was Falcon, a subsidiary of Vintage. And yeah, that was how I initially learned. I went to my school's ukulele club. By club, there are about like 4 people, but it was very nice. And then it was from that we went to jams that were hosted by Barry Maz. I've got a ukulele. I saw he was on the show recently. Yeah. He got me into the ukulele scene. It was through his band in Nantwich and the people that I met through those and the events that they went to and put on, that I got initially acquainted with contacts like Phil Dolman, like Crabbers and Hedge Spectors, Dead Man's Uke. And it was through that before I then properly entered the scene in like 2016. So that's like my very beginnings. And then in my career, guitar was my main instrument. I was in an acoustic duo, and my guitar would be the instrument that it would live in its case. It would come out for 2 hours as I played a gig, and then it would go back in its case. Whereas the ukulele was what I was playing at home for fun. So when this duo split and I needed to reestablish myself as a solo act, I decided to just play the instrument I was having more fun doing. I was going to open mic nights where there were 5, 6 guitarists and I was one ukulele player, and I created a niche. I challenged people's perception of the instrument by not playing just Over the Rainbow or I'm Yours or Riptide. I was doing some, can I swear?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was doing some mad shit on the ukulele, and by that it just branched out, and that's where I got my reputation as, specialist ukulele player.
Oh, cool. So, I mean, the ukulele really then kind of took over for you career-wise over the other instruments. You're clearly a very talented musician. I can see instruments in the background there, and you're kind of adding into what you play all the time. What is it about the ukulele that's kind of pulled you in that direction? There's something that sometimes I think none of us can put your finger on. I had no intention of being interested in the ukulele.
No, I don't think anyone does.
I still argue that I wasn't.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, initially, it was just because I wanted to say, cool, aren't I a great musician who can play lots of instruments? It became my main thing, and what drew me to the ukulele. It was the instrument I was playing at home for fun, outside of guitar. I was playing loads of open mic nights, and I was living in Manchester and walking around that city. It sounds really silly, but it's easier to carry than having a big guitar on your back. So that was one reason. And then the limitations of it. So when you have an instrument that is limited in its range, like the ukulele is compared to a guitar, a piano, you have more impetus to rework the music that you are playing to make it work for the ukulele. You are trying to, and then I also mentioned about people's preconceived notions on what the ukulele is, what it can do, what players can do on the instrument. So it was important for me to try and show my own credibility as well as the credibility of the uke as an instrument. So it was that challenge, I guess, was what drew me towards the ukulele and playing that as my main instrument.
Oh, cool.
And how, sort of going from guitar to ukulele, how's your style changed? Because are you playing in re-entrant? Are you playing high G?
No, low G for that reason.
Yeah, because of your guitar background. So
Yeah, so I have both, but my main thing is low G. I like my degree is in music production. I love sound engineering, and just from the perspective of having an extended frequency range to make the ukulele feel a bit bolder in like that lower mid area. That was the main reason, as well as also having those extra few notes for things like bass lines or what have you. So I mainly play in low G tuning for that reason. My style changed in the sense of I got a bit more percussive on ukulele because, again, just to like extend its range. A part of like when I play live is I hit my uke in such a way that I get sort of like this bass hit around where the piezo pickup is to add as a pseudo kick drum. My style changed as well because of I almost always play guitar with a pick. I almost always play ukulele like with my hand and my fingers, and the separation of like my thumb from the rest of my strumming hand. So it changed my style in that way, in terms of the way I phrase my chords, because too often I am tempted to, on guitar, play all the strings all the time and have to fret all the strings all the time. So I can really experiment with some more interesting voicings on ukulele than I would necessarily on guitar.
Yeah.
Do you find it has worked that other way around though as well? So that because I found my guitar playing changed incredibly from playing the ukulele. Kind of like what you're saying, as you realise on a ukulele that you've only got the four strings, and sometimes you're not even playing all four strings.
Yeah.
And you're getting the sound you want. Whereas guitar, you do have this habit of going like six strings, got to get all of them on. Particularly with finger picking stuff.
Yeah.
That I find I'm leaving more out on the guitar since playing ukulele.
Yeah.
Is that something? It's something that you find, or do you keep them very separate? And this is guitar, this is ukulele.
I'd say that I'm still a much better ukulele player than I am a guitarist. I did a video a few years ago called like things that playing guitar taught me about ukulele, and one of those points I mentioned was don't play all the strings all the time. I still yet to fully grasp my way around. Like there are certain chord phrasings on like guitar, for example, take a diminished seven chord voicing where you're using some of the lower strings, where it actively encourages that you just mute, say, your A string as part of the voicing. And I struggle with that sometimes because, again, I just find myself falling into a bit more of a habit. So my guitar playing hasn't fully improved the way I'd like it to compared to where my ukulele playing is. I still, not by my own choice and stubbornness, go, right, I need to play this in this style and this in that style. I just haven't spent the time in the practice room really getting to grips with trying to embolden my guitar style to, I guess another part of the reason as well is string spacing. On ukulele, the space between each individual string is a little bit wider, or at least I found it in my experience, compared to guitar where it's a bit narrower, like between each string itself. So there can be a difference in terms of playing style there as I approach things with like finger picking, and then also naturally the difference between like materials, working with steel string guitar and then going to fluorocarbon on ukulele. So
yeah. I'd say let's talk about your music. And so you've released lots of music over the years, and tell us about your music. You know, sort of. I've listened to some of the tracks. I haven't listened to your new single yet, and I think you've got a few videos out with bits and bobs of it. It's ukulele, but it's not.
That's a step above, isn't it? It's not just ukulele.
So tell us about how you build the tracks up and how you work them.
Okay, so genre-wise, I describe myself as a writer of pop folk. It is too folky for BBC introducing, but it's too poppy for like some of the folky, rootsy stages. So I'm just in that nice little middle ground of unemployability with my music.
That niche ground.
Yeah. So In terms of this kind of stuff I write about, like I grew up on Radio 1 and Now CDs and like in the 2000s. So that's like where my pop basis lies in terms of my pop sensibilities. And then I've had my spell of writing so much about largely like women mainly and people that I've had those feelings for and dalliances with. However, lately I've started delving into more sensitive and abstract topics as well. I've got a song called Sad Elephant, which is about my sleep apnea diagnosis. I've got a song about mental health and sort of suicide stuff relating to I'm So Glad You're Still Here. In terms of the instrumentation and building the songs, you are right. It's not just ukulele now. I typically, ever since like say my album Level Up, which I put out in 2017, 2018, that albums, and from that point on, my general outlook of the sonic palette is, right, imagine you've got a full band on stage. I'm the singer in the middle who is playing a ukulele. And then, yes, you've got your bassist here, you've got your guitarist, maybe a pianist keyboard there, and your drummer and other percussion. So I envision the palette like that, and I just fill it up gradually. Vast majority of cases, I'm playing all my own instruments on these because I can play guitar, bass, piano, some percussion. I've got cajon, but so for the majority of cases, I'm just like building my own palette based on the instruments I can already play. I've taken some slight deviations from that in the form of like Candlelight, which was a single I put out last year. That one was a bit more synth heavy. Still played all the parts, but it was just all on virtual instruments as opposed to like actual tangible things. And that just came from just trying to create a slightly different space.
Did you write that on ukulele, that one, Mark, even though it was Candlelight?
Candlelight, yeah. It's written on ukulele, and that's still a very prominent instrument featured in the song and the recording itself. I write mostly on ukulele or sometimes guitar over the last few songs, but like it varies. I'm always writing on an instrument like strings, and then I just use that as the main focal point with which I build around everything else.
Yeah. And you're recording it all at home? What's your setup for your home studio?
I record it here. So I've got a dog cameo as well. Hey, Brandy, good girl. So yeah, my home setup here is got my iMac. I got a Focusrite interface, but I've also got some outboard preamps which I go into. I've got a hell of a lot of acoustic treatment around my space. 2 pairs of monitors, and yeah. So And then just to my right here, I've got a filing cabinet that's full of microphones. So yes, I record and produce predominantly in this space here. And it's been a great venture since I've started like seriously expanding upon my home recording studio setup over the last couple of years or so.
So Sad Elephant was recorded there, was it, in your own studio?
Yes, Sad Elephant was recorded in my own space. It was at my old house in Manchester. That had so many different parts going on to it because it was like I was focused around the sort of vibe. I take a lot of influence lately from Dodie, and I had about 5 different ukulele parts and then dozens of like a dozen or so different vocal tracks going on. It was quite insane. Throwing into that as well, like cellist and piano and all sorts, and you just create such a rich texture of sound. Just a great field with which to work with. And yeah, it's all recorded from like my home studio, and I've been doing that home recorded style of setup since 2021.
Yeah. We were listening to Sad Elephant earlier. I think you sound slightly Irish on it when you sing.
Interesting. I mean, I am Irish. My name's Gallagher. My name's Gallagher. Yes, yeah. So my name's Gallagher. My dad's from Belfast, but I was born and raised in England, but I have 2 passports. So yeah, no, I wouldn't have necessarily said that myself about Sad Elephant how I sound, but I appreciate the observation, especially.
Yeah. Just when because obviously you sound quite northern when you speak, but yeah, certainly when you sing, it sounded more Irish to me.
It's really interesting because, like, I know that I'm northern and I'm born and raised in Cheshire, and then I lived in Manchester for 8 years, but I do not sound northern to other northerners. I feel like a very posh northerner, or I sound like a very southern northerner. And then it was only last year when I was talking to Amber Sands, also on the ukulele circuit. She's a drag queen. And when I said the word southern, that outed myself as sounding really northern, just with the word southern. And she was like, no, it's got to be more an open mouth, southern kind of thing. But yes, so that's interesting. I've always... It makes for an interesting section in terms of like talk about like my accent and the way I approach language, because I'm also a German speaker, and I've got one friend who adores me because I speak such this like very clear, not necessarily regionally influenced form of English. So it just really helped her, because in the past she's hosted, like, say, League Ukulele Gentlemen, and with them being up from Cumbria and Carlisle, she just could not follow them when like trying to speak to them. So yeah.
Actually, someone told me, I can't remember who it was, someone at Bracklesham told me that you don't decide your set until just before you or was it Pete? Was it Pete Moss who said this? That you have a look how the audience is, and then you decide what you're going to play. Not true.
Generally, usually at my covers gigs, I never write a set list out in advance. I always just play it by ear. For like my ukulele festival stuff, I tend to plan it a little bit more, just because my ukulele performance stuff, I try and promote myself more as an artist, as a songwriter, and then I tailor the set towards there. But yes, I won't write a set list out until like, I don't know, like an hour, half an hour before I start playing. And then, and even then there's like a lot of room for malleability. But my covers gigs that I play day to day during the weekends, no set list at all. I just take it based on the audience, and I adapt the set to suit like that, what demographic they are and what works best for them.
What would you play for us, Marc?
We're
in our 30s.
Got to one song.
We're in our
Are
30s.
you? So yeah, okay. I'd probably play something like "Eye of the Tiger" by Survivor.
See, I was going with King of the Swingers.
Yeah, I was going with "I'm Too Sexy."
I do have so Right Said Fred did like my tweet when I did cover that song. That's
living
legends, Right Said Fred.
Yeah, definitely.
Fridge, I think I just called it.
What's a fridge?
So let's talk more about your music. And so you've got a single coming out. It's a co-write, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us all about it.
Gaze at the oceans above me. I've sailed far from the shore, tickled by ripples beneath me. I lay wishing for more, trying to break out this bubble, but the stars are my only friend. I don't have time to feel lonely, I'll just swim home instead.
Breathe and reef the anchors and float away from the coast.
Absolutely. So my friend Julia Tracer and I wrote this song during lockdown, late 2020, over a Facebook video call. So Julia Tracer is newish to the ukulele scene. She's been to a couple of little festivals, like Good Enough. I say little festival. She's done some small appearances, like at the biggest ukulele festival in the country. But yes, so Julia and I wrote this song. She is based in Brighton now, but she's actually from Italy. And we she was doing a project where she was trying to write a song a week for like the whole year. And also I'm part of like writers groups and challenges and stuff. And we wrote a song that kind of channeled her experiences of leaving home and moving across the continent to pursue her musical dream. And we wrote a little song together, and initially over that. And then a year later, we met for the very first time in person. And we've played it live together on stage just like 3 times or something like that. So we've done that. And then I decided to try and make this song actually a thing. And I went and I recorded, I went down to Brighton, I set up a mobile studio thing in her room and then we just put this song together. So it's just channels the themes of leaving home and trying to do what's best for you.
Oh, cool. Awesome. And so that is out today.
Yes.
Yeah.
As we are now Friday. Honestly,
yeah, absolutely. It's
Definitely
come out today, and it's absolutely, it's something I've been really excited for, because this song has circulated on my socials for a while. We did our initial video, which was just the power of us sending, like in different parts of the country, sending videos to each other and stitching it together. We did one cover in person last year. That was one of my collabs at Gnuff. This is like the full version. This is with its full instrumentation, like 3 different uke parts, guitar, piano. I've got a lovely little string section, got a cellist and a violinist on this. It's like the song as it's now meant to be. So I'm really looking forward to people to re-experiencing this song the way I really hope they can.
And so that's released on all platforms?
Yeah, it's released on Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you buy or steal your favorite music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it nowadays because, like, sometimes we put out, when we release songs on the record label, we put out links where it goes like it's from Amazon via this link and Spotify via this link. I mean, it's just everywhere.
Yeah,
it's everywhere you can imagine nowadays. So yeah, kind of stick it into Google and see what takes your fancy. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for giving us some time today. I feel like we've just kind of skimmed the tip of the iceberg with Marc. So it'd be great at some point maybe to get you into the studio with us and maybe do a track with us or something. Would be really cool as well.
That'd be amazing. I just need to make the track up north, but very happy to make something like that happen.
Well, Pete Moss made it and he wasn't that far from you, so
yeah.
Well, there's the pressure then.
yeah.
And I'll tell you very quickly, which we haven't talked about, which we're not always very good at talking about, actual ukuleles.
Yeah.
So what's one? I like to know what is your go-to ukulele, because I believe everybody has one that is their kind of, you know, that's the one. If the house was burning down, which one do you grab? Which child do you rescue? Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Luckily, we're one child families.
Yeah, so don't have that.
Yeah, but so which ukulele are you rescuing from a burning building, and how many have you got in your collection?
Okay, ukuleles. So my main one is my Pono Pro Classic. It's the no, it's not. It is the ETCPC. It is a tenor, cedar top, ebony back and sides. It's downstairs, but I've had that ukulele since 2018. It's wonderful. I end up getting like a second thing like this. This is the ETSHPC, so it's very similar spec, but just with a slot head and rosewood back and sides instead of ebony. So I would go for that. That's absolutely my main instrument. The ukuleles in my collection. Main one, backup. I got Canalea SUST. Concerts. I've got my go-to one is for like high G stuff is my Anui Koa 2 uke. It's all solid Koa. It's beautiful. I also have my Boulder Creek Riptide ukulele over there, which I lovingly call my piece of crap uke. I've got a whole video on it. It was a gift from Zara Lowsley. It's battered to shreds, and yeah. And then I got 2 sopranos, one from Tin Guitar, one from it was just like an old 1930s soprano, which I think is really cool. And then I got a couple of baritones, both Pono. One's a big bastard, like ultra long baritone, and then I've got my other one, which is an ABD, which is in like all acacia, and I have that in re-entrant high D tuning. So about 9 or 10 ukuleles, I think, in my current collection.
Well, that's awesome.
Good number.
That's an acceptable
Good
collection,
yeah.
I think, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah, very, very nice. Well, Mark, best of luck with the single.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to do brilliantly well. Do go and have a listen. As I keep saying on this show, we need to support artists.
Yeah.
Particularly ukulele artists that are trying to make their way to the outside world of the very inner circular ukulele world. I think it's it's really important that we all kind of get behind these artists and support their music.
Definitely.
So please do go and have a listen to that. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Mark. We'll see you at the Festival of Great Britain.
Yes.
I cannot wait. I'm really excited for that one. It's going to be such a great weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to manifest it to make like the collaboration with James Hill. That is like that is the main goal for me throughout that weekend.
Yeah.
But yes, I look forward to catch up with you guys as well, though.
Yeah, we'll look forward to
I think that's going to happen.
Yeah, just walk on stage while he's playing, Mark.
Yeah.
I'll create a diversion of some sort and just get up there.
Yeah. But one way, by hook or by crook.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. I can feel it. So, yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much, Mark. And we will see you somewhere soon.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure. Brilliant.
Cheers,
Thanks,
guys.
Mark.
Take care,
Bye.
Mark. Nice to see you.